the reality of dating, and it has to be okay. It's just me and the lovely Rachel. Say hi, Rachel.
Hello, everyone.
Do a big Blue Peter wave. Talking to you guys about third wheel dates. Season with Salt meets third wheel dates, behind the scenes, all access. If you have questions about the show, drop us a message and I'd love to ask them. I feel like in Christian circles, right, as long as somebody's not actually sort of like toxic or abusive or whatever, particularly women but also men have to learn not to call dibs.
Yeah.
And like sometimes someone will be like, oh, I've dated him or her, so that's all of their friendship group cut off. Or a friend of mine will say like, oh, actually I really quite like him, and then he'll ask out another one of our friends, and that just has to be okay. And temporarily that's like, oh gosh, okay, you know, he didn't necessarily want me, but he wanted that person. And it's happened to me both where I've liked someone who's then asked out a friend of mine, or a friend of mine told me they like someone and that person's asked me out. And like, we just have to be cool with that. So anytime I have an interaction which is positive with someone, but it doesn't end up in a romantic relationship, whether I wanted it to or not, I'm always going to be like, go for it with that person. Like, we can't sort of be protective. And just because actually like, okay, you know, it's a shame. Yeah. Like, no, 100% we have to go for that. And I think part of the vision when we were talking about setting up this show and when we filmed the pilot, and I remember so Paul, the CEO, came on the shoot for the first proper day of filming. So, gosh, who did we do that day? The Scottish couple. Yeah, great. Dan and beautiful blonde Scottish iron brew everywhere. Yeah. So they came on. That was the first day, and there are another couple. There are another one or two on that day as well. And it was just so nice. But even as we were filming, he was saying sort of this, and this, and that whole affirmation thing that we do.
It's fantastic.
And
it really is.
That was Paul. He was like, no, like, what does good dating look like? It looks like really seeing that person and calling out something great in them. Do you remember what Miles called out in you on your date?
Oh, I actually don't think I do.
We never remember our compliments.
No.
Doesn't surprise me.
But it's really funny because actually for me, watching mine back, that was the bit that I went, oh, okay, because I know in that moment I felt uncomfortable, which is really funny because giving an affirmation, obviously that's what we want to do, is we want to affirm people and we want to build people up and call out the things that we see in them. But sitting there and receiving it is really hard. Yeah. And I think watching it back for me, I was like, no, I think I should have received that better. And actually it's on the other side of it as well, of acknowledging, thank you, you've seen that in me. Yeah. And not going, oh, like, you're lying. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, he's got to say something. They made him say that. He doesn't mean that. Yeah, totally. I feel like, I wrote this in the book actually, we're rubbish at accepting compliments. Yeah. And if I were to tell you something bad about yourself, like, oh, you smell so bad, which you don't, you smell great. But yeah, you would remember that for far longer than if I was like, oh, you smell great today. That would just pass you by. Yeah. Because you don't internalize those things in the same way. And I always think of when I wrote the book, my nephew was 3, he's now 6. Yeah. And if I say to him, Leo, I've got you a present, he doesn't go like, oh, I've not been good enough. Oh, not today, Auntie Lo. You take that toy and you take it home for a day when I deserve it. He goes, where's the present? Is it in your pocket? Is it here? What's my present? Did you say there was a present? And I'd be like, come and give me a hug first. And he'll be like, I just want my present. And he literally, there's not even a part of him that feels he doesn't deserve that. Yeah. He opens his arms and just takes it in, and he's like, yes, I want that gift. And that's how we have to accept compliments like a 3-year-old child accepts a present. Yeah, fully. That's it. Be like, oh my gosh, for me? Thank you. Yeah. Love that. Yeah. You know, and we're rubbish at doing that. But I guess so the format of it was that we wanted 2 great Christians to meet. Yeah. We wanted them to have fun, so it didn't feel heavy or stressful, but for them also to have a chance to speak a little bit into their heart and their faith. So there's that sort of, they've identified questions they want to hear from the other person towards the end, so we get that chance. And then there's, you know, a bit of a chat and space to talk, and then there's that the affirmation thing just before the decision. And that all of those things felt really important, as did still airing dates where one person said yes and one person said no.
That's okay.
Because that's the reality of dating, and it has to be okay. And it's not embarrassing to be open to a date with someone who's not open to a date with you.
Yeah.
It's really not. And I think there's this thing of like people measuring their worth based on how many people are sexually, physically attracted to them, or romantically interested in them. And it's like, that's madness. You know, there are so many people who don't want to date me, but I like to dwell on that and to let that be how I measure myself. It's just carnage. You know?
And also I think as Christians, we're told things in the Bible that are fact about ourselves, like you are fearfully and wonderfully made, you are loved, you are chosen.
Yeah.
And
I flipping am as well.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we should be like, right? And I think that's where, when, like you said, you get two people that really get on, and actually I think one thing that works really well is when you get two people who know who they are, and they offer what they have to the table, and they go, here's me, here's what I have to offer, and the other person does the same, and they either go, great, we're offering things that are similar, and I want to pick up what you have to offer, or you go, actually, that's not something that I feel I want. You go, great, thank you for offering